Que se pongan. Sí, Claudia, ya no le dieron.
¿Qué tal si una persona, compañera de casa, te puedes hacer aquí al lado? Para que estemos más distribuidos. Ya que ustedes quieren abrir un poquito para que todas aparezcan, pero tienes así como una pista, por favor. Porque estamos para acá. Pero esto para acá, para que te veas. Pero va a ser así como, o sea, de este lado, para que te veas. Si quieren hacerse así como para que estén alineados con ellos. Exacto, perfecto. Listo.
How does that look? Does that look good? Good? Okay.
Bueno, entonces quieren empezar.
La bola de oro ya.
En los Estados Unidos 10 años pasaron.
Buenos días. Good morning. My name is Isaías Guerrero, and that was Mariachi Halcón. Please give him a round of applause. Por favor, regálenle un aplauso. La voz de los mariachis Halcón no solamente son la voz de un pueblo, sino es la voz de la justicia, que en este momento levanta las historias de nuestra comunidad inmigrante, el poder y su belleza, para resaltar que en nuestras historias, en nuestro dolor y en nuestros sueños, estamos creando el camino hacia la justicia para todos y para todas en este país. The words that came out from Mariachi Halcón not only represent the beautiful history of Mexico, but in this moment represent the power, the beauty, the pain, and the dreams of those of us in the immigrant community that are crafting a road towards freedom and liberation for everybody. And that's what we're here to do. I represent Popular Democracy, a coalition of 48 of the most amazing community-based organizations in the country. Today, we gather to lift up the stories of resistance and power and to call out this administration's cruel agenda that at the expense of hundreds and thousands of people access to healthcare, access to education, by giving money to immigration is destroying our communities. Trump's immigration policies, including mass detention expansion, and are stripping due process and attacks on birthright citizenship are unmistakably authoritarian and every day continue to take away any democracy and any protections that are included in it. Today, we are calling the Day of the Disappeared. This is a weekend of action that brings together a broad national coalition, including National Day Labor Organizing Network, Detention Watch Network, the Workers' Circle, Public Citizen, Women's March, Strategic Organizing Initiative, and many others. We're doing a weekend of coordinated protests, vigils, and cultural actions. Together, we are demanding due process, freedom, and justice for all. Today, we're here to tell the administration that we are not going to let this administration attack us, that we're not going to let our people to continue be in the shadows and continue suffering, but that we as immigrants are going to go out in the streets, continue celebrating what we carry in our heritage, that is amazing power and liberation for everybody. Sí, ya no suena. ¿Le pueden subir un poquitico? Súbale un poquitico, sí, por favor. It's too loud for the live stream? Oh, okay. Ahí está bien o mucho? Is that good or too loud? Yeah? Okay. Great. So today you're going to hear from amazing people from Florida, Arizona, Maryland, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. They're going to be sharing stories of deportation, detention, but most importantly of hope. And we're going to be naming all those that have died in detention, and we've put all their names here just for this year. These are people that have died in detention, in immigration detention. And we're here to say, stop the deaths and free them all. Say it with me. Stop the deaths, free them all. Free them all. Que paren las muertes y que los liberen a todos. Muchas gracias. Y ahora, I'm going to pass the microphone to a sister in the struggle in an organization that is doing amazing work across the country called Detention Watch Network. We'll invite Setare Gandehari, who's the advocacy director, to come forward.
Good morning. Can y'all hear me okay? Good morning, and thank you for joining us today. As Isais shared, my name is Setare Gandehari, and I'm the advocacy director at Detention Watch Network, which is a national coalition of 112 organizational members across 27 states, building power through collective advocacy, grassroots organizing, and strategic communications to abolish immigration detention in the United States. For nearly 30 years now, we have been dedicated to exposing the horrors of immigration detention in the U.S., a system that is fundamentally inhumane, unnecessary, and deadly. There have been a shocking 25 deaths in ICE custody since Trump's inauguration in January. Beloved family members, mothers and fathers, daughters and sons, friends and neighbors who are not returning to their homes or their communities. This year has been the deadliest year in ICE custody in decades. In immigration detention, people are deprived of freedom, caged in isolation, and made to suffer abysmal conditions that put lives in jeopardy. Detention is deadly. What we're seeing now is a heightened cruelty that is exacerbating the inhumane conditions inherent to ICE's detention system. People in immigration detention are describing it as hell on earth, because it is. Trump's cruel mass detention and deportation agenda has reached a previously unimaginable scope and scale. Detention expansion serves as a key pillar of Trump's mass deportation campaign, which has included the expansion of surveillance, the shameful return of family detention, the incarceration of people in an abusive mega prison in El Salvador, third country deportations, and on our screens and in our communities, many of us have seen the increasingly violent neighborhood and workplace raids that destabilize communities and traumatize adults and children alike. People are aggressively targeted based on what they look like, the language they speak, and where they work. And then they are funneled into ICE's network of private prisons, county jails, state and federal prisons, and makeshift detention camps that subject people to unconscionable conditions: isolation, medical neglect, physical and verbal abuse, overcrowding, insufficient access to necessities like food and water. Moldy food is often distributed, and rampant transfers that disappear people into the detention system, sowing confusion and cutting people off from their loved ones and their support networks. In no uncertain terms, ICE has repeatedly proven that no one is safe in its custody. ICE is now the largest enforcement agency in the country, operating with never-before-seen funding to maintain and expand the largest immigration detention system in the world. What we're witnessing right now is a multi-layered detention expansion plan that includes proliferating ICE operations into other government agencies, using military bases as deportation hubs, deepening ties with private prison companies, and growing ICE partnerships with local sheriffs and county jails. This mind-blowing investment into the immigration detention system, driven by Trump's mass deportation campaign, comes at the expense of all Americans. As people lose health care, kids go hungry, families struggle to pay rent and worry over emergency preparedness amidst historic climate catastrophes. So let me say that again. Trump is executing his cruel mass deportation agenda at the expense of life-saving health care and food benefits that exist to support all Americans. But amidst all of this pain, and in the face of these attacks, people in communities across the country are uniting to support each other and to move in unity, to say that we are stronger together and we can have a world where all people are free and able to thrive. Today's event is part of this broader sea change. At Detention Watch Network, we are bringing together 40 communities, more than 40 communities across the country as part of our annual tradition of mourning and celebrating the lives of those who tragically died in ICE custody. And we join in the broader Disappeared in America Weekend of Action this year, bringing together a broad national coalition for a weekend of more than 120 coordinated protests, vigils, cultural actions across the country. Together, we are sending a clear message that freedom and justice for all should be the central pillar of a healthy democracy. And that means ending immigration detention once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Setare. And let's say the words that she just mentioned. So we're here fighting for freedom and justice for all. Everybody say it with me. Freedom and justice for all. Freedom and justice for all. That's right. And so not only we have community voices that have joined us here today, but we're also very inspired because we have Representative Emily Randall from Washington State, who's here to share how she's experiencing these attacks on her community, how she also, as an immigrant, is experiencing this, and not only standing with immigrants, but also standing in the right side of history, in the right side that says freedom and justice for all. Thank you so much, Representative, for joining us.
Gracias. Thank you. Well, I will just say, I'm not an immigrant, but only because my family is from New Mexico and the border crossed us. My grandparents and generations of my grandmothers lived in Rio Arriba, New Mexico, before it was a state, before it became part of the United States. And for me, that's a really formative story, that migration is part of life and that borders change. And my grandparents then moved from the Southwest to Washington State because they wanted economic opportunity for their children and grandchildren. They wanted their children not to face housing and workplace discrimination. They wanted to be able to participate and build a strong economic future for themselves and their neighbors. And that was from one state to another, but that is what so many of our stories are. Moving from one place to another in order to find hope and opportunity for the people that you love, for your children, for yourselves. And there is nothing more beautiful than participating and building a strong economic future for your community, no matter where you come from. In my community that I represent in Washington State's northwest corner, we are home to a diverse community, rainforests and coasts, working people in fish processing and timber, and we are home to the Tacoma Northwest Ice Processing Facility run by GEO, a private prison company. Since being elected, my team and I have gone to visit 4 times. Sometimes we coordinate and they let us in, and this last visit we were denied entrance. Like so many of my congressional colleagues across the country, ICE is closing their doors to the constitutional oversight that is our responsibility. They are illegally denying members of Congress access and oversight because they know that it is not good for them to show us what is happening within their walls. Because they are overcrowded, because access to healthcare is challenging, because the circumstances are not clean, because folks don't have access to the outdoors as they are required to have, because they are locking people up for civil infractions. It looks just like a jail or prison any jail or prison that I have visited, worse than some jails or prisons that I have visited in Washington State. But this is not, immigration is not criminal. When folks end up in immigration court, it is civil, and they should not be locked up in these private prisons in our communities, denied access to healthcare and food and their families. The most recent time that I went to the Northwest Detention Center was after there was an immigration raid on an active wildfire in my district. The largest wildfire in the state. We had firefighting crews from all across the country and around the world helping to combat this very hard to fight fire. And Customs and Border Patrol worked in cooperation with the Department of Interior to raid the firefighting site, to pull people off the line who were managing fire fuel, cutting wood, clearing paths, ensuring that this fire didn't grow, to make every single member of the firefighting crew show their identification. And 2 firefighters were detained. This is against previous presidential directive to ensure that active disaster areas are safe from immigration raids. It's a complete reversal of Biden-era policy. And it is not what this president, it hurts my heart to say that, it's not what this president promised he would do in the campaign. He said, I am going to round up the worst of the worst criminals, violent offenders, murderers, rapists, folks who are pushing drugs on our children. That is not what we're seeing in our communities. We're seeing grandparents and parents and green card holders and citizens and firefighters being locked up and disappeared. And we are here to say no more. This is not the America that we fight for. This is not the America that my family helped build. This is not the America that so many of us choose to move to and make more beautiful and more healthy and more vibrant and stronger. Our budgets are a statement of moral values, and it is clear what the values of this administration are. Locking people up, funding the largest enforcement agency in the country to target immigrants while they build a fancy ballroom and deny health care to millions of Americans. I'm grateful to be here with all of you. So grateful and inspired by your voices and your fight alongside the organizations in my community like La Resistencia that is fighting for immigrants in the Northwest Detention Center, ACLU, and NERP, and Kitsap Immigration Assistance Center. It is going to take all of us arm in arm to ensure that our communities are safe and healthy and free. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Representative.
Gracias.
Thank you so much, Representative. All right, and so as Representative Randall said, we're seeing ICE everywhere in our communities, and it's literally destroying our communities. The social fabric that we're trying to build, leaving everything behind, coming in, starting going to the churches, to the schools, to the hospitals. Now, all of these places that were at one point safe for us are no longer safe. And so the goal is to continue building sanctuary all across the country to ensure that no matter where we are, no matter what our immigration status is, we can live a life of dignity. And to continue hearing amazing, powerful stories, I'm really proud to introduce one leader from CASA. Her name is Janira, who's gonna share her personal story. And we're gonna do it bilingual, so we're also gonna be interpreting. But please give it up for Janira, who's gonna share her story. Un aplauso para Janira, a la compañera.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Janira y soy miembro de CASA.
Yo interpreto. Hello, good morning. My name is Janira and I'm a member of CASA.
Soy madre de familia y parte de la comunidad que está siendo violentada por los ataques de esta administración.
I'm a mother and I'm part of the community that is being impacted with the violent attacks from this administration.
Ya que están acosando, vigilando y, por qué no decirlo, deteniendo y desapareciendo a aquellas madres, padres, hijos y hermanos y hermanas de la familia que están siendo desaparecidas por este sistema.
ICE is kidnapping, vigilante, and actually disappearing mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, sisters of families across the country by this system.
Estoy aquí alzando la voz en solidaridad, pidiendo justicia.
I'm here raising my voice in solidarity, asking, demanding justice.
Enfrentando al sistema de opresión y desigualdad
Confronting the system of oppression and inequality
para todas las comunidades negras, latinas, inmigrantes de clase trabajadora.
and I am fighting in behalf of Black communities, Latino communities, immigrants, and the working class.
Exigimos acceso y transparencia y la liberación inmediata de todas las personas secuestradas,
We demand access, transparency, and liberation immediately of all the people that have been kidnapped, detained, and disappeared.
detenidas y desaparecidas, afirmando su dignidad y su derecho a la libertad y al debido proceso.
We want to affirm people's dignity and their right to freedom and due process.
También quiero pedirle justicia por Josué Castro Rivera,
I want to demand justice for Josué Castro Rivera,
ya que agentes federales lo persiguieron hasta que se adentró en el tráfico en Norfolk, Virginia.
He was persecuted and had a traffic accident in Norfolk, Virginia because of the high chase persecution and the way that the police approached them.
Durante la persecución, un camión lo atropelló y murió.
During the chase, a truck hit him and caused his death.
Así que pido un momento de silencio para todos aquellos que perdieron su vida en manos de ICE, como mi compañero virginiano José Rivera Castro.
So I want to ask a moment of silence for all those that have lost their lives in the hands of ICE, like my brother Josué Rivera Castro.
Gracias a todos.
Thanks to everybody. Muchas gracias, Yanira. Y en ese mismo sentimiento queremos conmemorar a todas las personas que han muerto y por eso hemos hecho este hermoso altar. Muchas gracias a Ari y a Kyle de Día de los Muertos DC. Thank you so much to Ari and Kyle from Día de los Muertos DC that with community members have put together this beautiful altar to commemorate those lives that have passed. Now we would like to give the microphone to an amazing freedom fighter that I've gotten to know for many years from La Colectiva. Her name is Beatriz, and she's going to share her testimony of how she's been fighting in Virginia with immigrants across the state to make sure that we have better protections for our immigrants, brothers and sisters.
Hola, Beatriz.
Mira, si quieres lo leo completo.
Ok.
Y luego
O si quieres así como parrafitos, sí.
como gustes. Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Beatriz, soy organizadora comunitaria con la colectiva, también previamente detenida por estos sistemas de inmigración. Trabajo de cerca con personas que están ahorita mismo siendo violentadas en las cárceles de ICE.
Hello, my name is Beatriz. I am from La Colectiva, and I myself was victim of being detained by this brutal system of ICE, and I'm here to share my story on how I'm working with communities across the U.S.
Seamos claros, cuando crearon y diseñaron estos sistemas, eran conocedores y conscientes de la violencia, brutalidad y muerte que iban a causar. Han creado y usado narrativas que criminalizan a las comunidades negras de color inmigrantes.
Let's be clear. When they created and designed these systems, they were fully aware of the violence, brutality, and death they would cause. They created and used narratives that criminalize Black, people of color, and migrant communities.
Mientras el DHS, ICE, CBP tienen billones de dólares para aterrorizar, secuestrar, atacar con brutalidad y violencia a nuestras comunidades, simultáneamente compañías privadas como Geo Group, Core Civic obtienen contratos billonarios.
While DHS, ICE, and CBP have billions of dollars to terrorize, kidnap, and brutally and violently attack our communities, private companies like Geo Group and Core Civic simultaneously obtain billion-dollar contracts.
Todos Todos hemos sido testigos de la violencia, la criminalización, el abuso, el trauma y la muerte que causan las detenciones de migrantes.
We have witnessed the violence, criminalization, abuse, trauma, and death caused by migrant detentions.
Recientemente, la detención de Farmville, Virginia, nuevamente denunció abusos de condiciones insalubres, gusanos en la comida, atención médica terrible, y a quienes denuncian les amenazan con castigos severos.
Recently, in the Farmville Detention Center in Virginia, we have gotten reports of abuses, unsanitary conditions, worms in the food, terrible medical care, and threats of severe punishment for those who speak out for being reported.
No queremos mejorar condiciones, queremos que se cierren las detenciones, que liberen a nuestra gente, que vuelvan a casa junto a sus familias aquí en los Estados Unidos.
We don't want to improve conditions. We want the detention centers closed, our people released, and to return home to their families here in the United States.
Es tiempo de alzar la voz, reclamando la libertad que nos quieren robar, no con armas, sino con valentía, con empatía, con amor, respeto. Solo tenemos una vida y este es nuestro planeta.
It's time to raise our voices, reclaiming the freedom that isn't being stolen, not with weapons, but with courage, empathy, love, and respect. We only have one life and one planet.
¿Qué es lo que queremos heredar a las siguientes generaciones? ¿Odio, represión, esclavitud y muerte?
What do we want to leave future generations? Hate, repression, slavery, and death?
Ningún ser humano es ilegal. Libérenlos a todos. Comunidades sí, jaulas no.
No human being is illegal. Free them all. Communities, yes. Cages, no.
En todos ustedes está el poder de levantar esta opresión en este país y en todo el mundo. No podemos permitir que Gaza se convierta, lo que está viviendo Gaza, nos convirtamos aquí, y lo que está pasando en El Salvador. La gente no tiene libertad de expresión. La gente está siendo apresada por alzar la voz y denunciar la violencia del Estado.
We cannot stay silent, especially with the deaths in Gaza. In El Salvador, the freedom of speech is being taken away. We have to organize and come together to make sure that this does not happen.
Free them all! Free them all! Free them all!
Free them all! Muchas gracias, Beatriz, poderosa como siempre, compañera. Un aplauso, por favor, y el trabajo de la colectiva, que es increíble. Thank you so much, Beatriz, for your work and for your words. And what is important is we don't want better conditions. We want those to shut down the detention centers, because no human being should have to endure dying in detention, not having medical access, being beaten up. All of this does not represent American democracy. Bueno, let's continue. I want to introduce now a freedom fighter from Kansas who has been fighting this good fight for years now. So help me welcome Jenny Tejes from Kansas City, or bueno, Kansas and Sunflower.
Hello, everyone. Jenny Silva Renteria from Kansas. I am here today representing the state with the support and collaboration of Sunflower Community Action. And I am an immigrant born in Mexico, and my heart aches for everything that is happening in our community, not only in Kansas, but across the United States. But I have not let that define me, and the pain has not stopped me from doing the work in the community. I have a purpose, and I know there is a reason why I did not die 30 years ago when I walked for days across the border in the desert in the middle of the summer. Today, I am part of a network, part of a support system that our families need. I am a co-founder of Kansas Immigration Coalition, the first coalition in Kansas that focuses to work with the immigrant community. And this was formed as a response to the needs of the community. Because of the work we do, we have witnessed people go home after interacting with ICE. people who have to go home and hug their family at night. It was a family who their immigration showed up at their door, and because of the work that we have done and the education awareness, and because they have participated and they know your rights, they knew exactly how to respond, and thankfully, nobody was detained. We have brought peace and hope to a high schooler who was early on, whenever all of this started, he was really worried about his mom getting detained and not knowing who was going to pick up his little sister from school. This is the stories that we hear not only in Kansas but across our nation. A child, a high schooler, should not focus on where their mom is going to be. They're focusing on their dreams, their future. By raising awareness, by talking about their rights and safety plans, we can help our community prepare whenever this happens. On the day of the death, we remember those who have lost their lives, seeking better opportunities for themselves and for their children, just like my parents did when I was 10 years old. Those that have lost to injustice, the lack of due process, and hate, we are their voice and we should be speaking up. If the same energy and resources that are going into family separation will be put into making our families strong, this country indeed will be the greatest country of all. But rather, we choose to separate families and increase their fear. I ask that we unite our voices without labels, without size, as one voice, the immigrant voice, a voice asking for dignity, for justice, and for the opportunity to keep the families together. As Dolores Huerta said, you are the gardens. Son los jardineros, somos los jardineros who plant the seeds of hope and justice everywhere we go. Everything we do, everything you do matters. The lives of our gente matter. So please say it with me. What do we want? Families. How do we want them? Together. What do we want?
Families.
How do we want them?
Together.
What do we want?
Families.
How do we want them?
Together.
Keep raising your voice. Do it angry. Do it scared. Do it with pain. Do it with hope. Because our families belong together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jenny. That's right. That was a beautiful quote from Dolores Huerta that we are the seeds of hope and liberation, I think it was, something like that. Very beautiful. So somos las semillas de esperanza y de amor. Y justicia, gracias, eso. Bueno, muchas gracias, Jenny. And now we're going to pass the microphone from a brother and a sister from Fuerte, Arizona. Cesar and Tamilia, who are going to share how Arizona is experiencing the current wave of attacks on the immigrant community. Will share from us how they're defending and how they're preparing and what they're seeing in the ground. Un aplauso para Cesar y para Tamilia.
Gracias. So today we came all the way from Phoenix, Arizona to talk about how our families, our neighbors, our community members are being disappeared in the dead of the night. Our system out there is broken. We have family members who have been waiting 20 plus years for an approval notice for a residency, who are now afraid to go shopping, afraid to go to the doctor because of all the disappearances that are happening. Let me be clear with everybody. It's not immigrants who are harming this community, this country. It's the billionaires who are buying politicians, the politicians that are using us as scapegoats, the landlords who are increasing our rents illegally because they know our communities are too afraid to report it, the corporations that are stealing our wages from hardworking families. These are the folks that are actually harming the communities and not the immigrants. America was built on immigrants, and we are American. So I want to pass it on to Tamilia, who's going to share stories about what's happening out there as well.
Hola, mi gente. My name is Tamilia Gosa Chapa. I'm also from Arizona. What is happening to our community is devastating. People, when they go to their everyday places like the carniceria, the mercados, the stores, y todo, they're scared. I spent the better part of the spring and the summer passing out Know Your Rights cards, answering questions for people in my community of what they can do, how they can prepare. We are preparing people by putting together safety plans in case they are separated. As a former school board member, I watched as the elementary students that I served also be very terrified about what would happen if they came to school and they came home and their parents were no longer there. No child should ever have to live through that. No adult should ever have to live through that. As I look at the ofrenda and I see all these flores, I think about the girasol. And the girasol is a flower that goes towards the light, and when there's no light, they go towards each other. And as a community, that's what we should be doing. We should be taking care of each other, uplifting each other, protecting each other, preparing each other. And what this administration is doing is very violent, and it is traumatizing our people, and that is not okay. Immigrants, the only reason any of us are not immigrants that aren't immigrants is by luck. The only reason why that man that's sitting in the White House right now is not an immigrant is by sheer luck, and because he did not have to go through the things that many people in the immigrant community have to go through now. The reason why I am not an immigrant is because my grandmother just so happened to be born on the side of the border that was considered the United States. And from this girasol del barrio to all the other girasoles del barrio, it is time for us to lean into each other and uplift each other and fight for each other, and remember that we are only as strong as our most vulnerable link in our communities, and it is time to stop making everyone else more vulnerable. It is not okay, and we need to stand up to this violence.
Yes, thank you so much, Tamilia and César. And what's so important is to be prepared. Lo que dijeron Tamilia y César es que tenemos que estar preparados, hacer planes de protección familiar, hacer los poderes para nuestros hijos, nuestras hijas, nuestras propiedades en caso de cualquier cosa, pero también estar preparados para hacer campañas, para pelear las deportaciones de cada uno de nosotros y de nuestros vecinos y de nuestros seres queridos. Porque unidos podemos, y nosotros somos los únicos que nos vamos a poder salvar. Entonces, unidas podemos. Unidas podemos. Así es. Bueno, ahora pues vamos a hacer el momento de la ofrenda, en el cual pues vamos a decir los nombres de las personas que han muerto este año en detención. Entonces, what is important about this moment is we're gonna lift up the spirits of those that have passed in detention this year. And so after you hear the name, please say presente, presente, presente. Okay? Entonces empecemos con Cielito Lindo, compañeros. Perdón, amor eterno, amor eterno.
Gracias. Sí, Cielito Lindo es lo opuesto.
hear the name, please say presente, presente. Sigan con la música para tenerla ahí detrás. Eso. El mismo círculo. Years old, Honduras, Chrome Detention Center, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Serawit Gesaen Dejene, 45 years old, Etiopía. Eloy Detention Center, Arizona. Presente, presente, presente. Maxim Cheniak, 44 years old, born in Ukraine, Chrome Detention Center, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Juan Alexis Tineo Martínez, 44 years old, República Dominicana, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Presente, presente. Brian Rayo Garzón, 27 años, Colombia, Phelps County Jail, Roya, Missouri. Presente, presente, presente. Non Ngoc Nguyen, 55 years old, Vietnam, El Paso Detention Center. Presente, presente, presente. Marianne Blaze, 44 years old, Haiti, Broward Detention Center, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Abelardo Avellaneda Delgado, 68 years old, México, Stewart Detention Center, Georgia. Presente, presente, presente. Jesús Molina Bella, 45 years old, born in Mexico, Stewart Detention Center, Georgia. Presente, presente, presente. Johnny Novello, 49 years old, born in Canada, Detention Center, Miami, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Isidro Pérez, 75 years old, born in Cuba, Chrome Detention Center, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Tien Xuan Phan, 55 years old, Vietnam, Carnes County Detention Center, Texas. Presente, presente, presente. Chao Feng He, 32 years old, born in China, Processing Center, Pennsylvania. Presente, presente, presente. Lorenzo Antonio Batres Vargas, 32 years old, born in Mexico, Florence Detention Center, Arizona. Presente, presente, presente. Ismael Ayala Uribe, 39 years old, México, Adelanto Center, California. Presente, presente, presente. Santos Reyes Vanegas, 42 years old, Honduras, Nassau County, New York. Presente, presente, presente. Oscar Rascón Duarte, 54 years old, México, Eloy Detention Center, Arizona. Presente, presente, presente. Norlan Guzmán Fuentes, born in El Salvador, and Miguel Ángel García Hernández, 32 años, México, died in a shooting in Dallas in September. Presentes, presentes, presentes. Leo Cruz Silva, 34 years old, born in Mexico, Genevieve County Detention Center, Missouri. Presente, presente, presente. Suabing Xie, age not reported, from China, Imperial Regional Detention Facility, California. Presente, presente, presente. Hassan Ali Mo Saleh, 67 years old, born in Jordan, Chrome Detention Center, Florida. Presente, presente, presente. Estikaukur Rahman, 19 years old, Bangladesh, Camp 8, Montana, Fort Bliss. Presente, presente, presente. Gabriel García Avilés, 50s, Adelanto Detention Center. Presente, presente, presente. Kai Jin Wong, 63 years old, born in China, South Texas Processing Center. Presente, presente, presente. Estela Ramos, 45 years old, Guatemala. Presente, presente, presente. Jaime Alanis, 56 years old, born in Mexico. Presente, presente, presente. Silverio Villegas González, 38 years old, born in Mexico, died during a traffic stop. Silver, presente, presente. Vivos los queremos. Libres los queremos. Lucharemos por todas y todas. Y que se acabe la migra. Migra no. Migra no. Migra no. Migra no. Comunidades sí. Comunidades sí. Comunidades sí. Muchas gracias, María Chalcón, y que estas vidas vivan siempre en nuestros corazones, nos inspiren para seguir continuando este camino hacia la justicia, romper el miedo, educarnos y seguir organizándonos para que pronto todos y todas estemos libres y no tengamos que vivir con esa angustia. All right, thank you so much, Maria Chalcón. Thank you, everybody. And let's keep those stories close to our hearts. And so the idea of these moments is not only to cry and to open up and share our pain, but transform the pain into power. And to know that we're not here alone, that we're not the only ones organizing, but like Setare said, there's 120 events that are happening this weekend that are commemorating, that are fighting, so that there's better conditions for immigrants all across the country. So this is the first step of turning pain into power and to putting pain in the public sphere, because it is when we put our pain publicly that we actually create the moral crisis so that things change. So we will continue organizing and making sure that no one else goes into those jails and to those detention centers. And in that vein, we want to give the microphone to some really powerful allies that we have in our lucha. And I want to give the microphone to Susani Acosta, who's a furloughed federal worker from the Federal Unionist Network, who are here in solidarity to stand with us. And they haven't been paid, y'all, for like about a month now. They're fighting every day as well, but they're willing to stand strong to make sure that in the budget fight that we're going on right now, no one more dollar goes to ICE, no one more dollar is taken away from our healthcare system, because that's what this administration wants to do. Wants to take money away from our communities to give it to billionaires. And we're here to say no to that they better invest in communities and not cages. So let me pass it to Susani Acosta from the Federal Unionist Network.
Bienvenida, Susani. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Buenos días.
Good morning.
By the end of this week, I will have been furloughed for over a month. I am a furloughed worker from the National Institutes of Health. I help researchers and doctors in this country and around the world use data to improve patient care and health. But today, I'm speaking in a personal capacity only. I'm a first-generation Latina. Mis padres son de la República Dominicana. They're also citizens of this country. And yet I still fear for their safety every day. I fear for the safety of my Latino community everywhere. The Supreme Court says that it's okay to profile people based on their skin color and their accent. My parents have lived here for over 30 years. They've given their lives to service, to hard work, and to their community. They've instilled those values to me as well, which is why I work in the federal government. But I can't live in the same state that they do. They currently live in North Carolina, and I live in DC. If something were to happen to them, I would have to go through so many hoops just to get to them, just to protect them. And I'm increasingly worried because they are getting older. ICE has severely injured people just because they are brown, just because they have the wrong accent. If you speak with the wrong accent, if you look too brown, or you look like you could have come from Central America, they're going to go after you. You could be here, it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are undocumented, whether you have your documents, or are a citizen. They don't see anything else. You are just an illegal to them. As someone who comes from a Latino community, focus on family and community was fundamental to the values that I grew up with. I was taught to respect my elders and authority, but most importantly, I was taught that we have to take care of each other. We don't have anyone but ourselves. My parents come from a country where they couldn't trust the government. They came here believing that it would be different. They believed that if they worked hard, if they kept their heads down, we would be left alone to do our work and live our lives. They believed that we would have rights as people in this country, that we would be able to use the courts to protect ourselves from harm, that it wasn't like where we came from. But now the government is using our tax dollars to attack a community that has only built up this country. Our community that has paid into this system. We're seeing the government sever that relationship. And this is going to harm the relationship of our community with the government, with law enforcement, for generations to come. So we gather to remember those who have disappeared. Mothers, fathers, friends, co-workers taken by the militarized police, the National Guard, or ICE, detained without cause, or deported without due process. Behind every number is a face, a name, a story. A parent who didn't come home from work. A student who no longer can go to class. A family waiting for news that will never come. When people are disappeared into detention, it's not their freedom that's at stake. It's not only just their freedom that's at stake, it's all of ours. When they are detained, it isn't just physical attacks, but psychological warfare. Without almost anyone noticing.